Hello and welcome to This and That. I'm Dave Lees.
And I'm Meagan Duhamel.
Meagan, you're filling in for Jonathan today. I'm super excited to ask you about the Grand Prix. But first, update us. You were super relaxed the last time I talked to you after the Olympics. So you were touring. What the heck are you doing now?
Well, I miss Jonathan, first of all. It's usually the three of us. Something is missing. So hi, Jonathan. I've been following you on Facebook. Looks like everything's going well. I just got back from vacation. I went on vacation. I was busy doing tours. We did Japan Stars and Ice, Canada Stars and Ice, all dead skate in Korea. We ran some seminars in Australia after the Olympics. So I was pretty busy, and I went on vacation and just got back last weekend, so just a week ago. I enjoyed Ireland and Scotland and London, England, and just kind of got back into, like, I guess what will be my real life for the summer. Coaching a little bit, finishing up my school. I have one more unit left to finish up for this sports and fitness nutrition certification, and working on other projects like a book that Eric and I have coming out this fall. I'm running a skating camp in my hometown in August. So organizing and prepping that has been kind of difficult, but I think we finally have it all ready. It's going to be released now for people to register. So I've been keeping busy.
Okay, and you're coaching a bit, so...
Yes, but I haven't been skating.
Yeah, that's strange to me to hear that you haven't been skating.
Well, maybe I'll have to eventually, because we have our tour this fall, the Thank You Canada tour, not our tour, but Canada's tour. So I'll have to get back into skating probably towards the end of August, but I am like slowly getting myself back into shape, because I feel like I went on vacation and for the first time ever for 3 weeks, I just like did nothing. And not did nothing, because like my vacations are still like quite active and adventurous, but I didn't actually train. And usually throughout my vacation, I continue running and doing my yoga and like staying in shape, but I didn't do that for the first time. And I kind of feel disgusting with myself. So I'm spending this next few weeks like making myself feel better and more active.
Now, do you miss summer training?
Not right now. I feel very content. Not getting a long program ready and not trying to stress about new rule changes and new elements that we want to learn. I mean, I feel like I left it on such a peaceful note that I don't miss it right now.
Okay. Now, do you miss the structure? Because like, how are you picturing the next year of your life? Are you planning that out, or are you?
Well, yeah, that's what's weird. And I mean, this week too, it was like, I have so many, like, I'm helping coaching a little bit. I'm organizing a seminar. I'm finishing my studies. So it's like, I'm dabbling in many things that are not really related to each other, which is a little bit strange. Whereas before it was just skating and training. And now I'm like, okay, I want to organize this seminar. Okay, I want to finish my school. I was asked to do some work for the school that I had attended, the Canadian School of Natural Nutrition, write some articles for their website. So like that's all stuff that like, and then I'm trying to still stay in the rink and help people and coach. So it's a little bit of a different structure. But I think the freedom is good for me. I think it's good to get out of like an OCD type of routine that I created for myself. I think it's healthy to have a bit more freedom right now.
So you're on the Thank You Canada tour, which is going to pull some of the Canadian top skaters off of the Grand Prix.
Well, we weren't going to do the Grand Prix regardless.
Yes. So I guess my question there is that like, are you going constantly on that tour? Is that you're going to be home on the weekends? Like, how does that tour?
No, that is like literally 2 months in a bus, nonstop. We are busing it across Canada in a big tour bus, which is going to be amazing because we're a great group of people. You know, like everybody gets along, the energy is good, everybody's friends. But we are busing it, and it shows, I think, sometimes 4 nights in a row and then maybe 1 or 2 nights off. Continuously 27 or 28 shows in 2 months. So it's going to be very busy and continuous.
So you'll see all of Canada, basically.
And all the smaller towns is where we're going. So we're going to try to hit up a different market than Stars and Ice does. That's kind of the plan. So we're going to smaller venues. And we're doing a show in my hometown, which is like very rare because shows never go to Sudbury. So that's really cool for me. We're going to Newfoundland, which is exciting for Caitlin Osmond and her family and friends and all the people back in Newfoundland that, you know, they're always waiting to see her perform.
So Caitlin Osmond said that she wasn't going to do the Grand Prix, but she may compete next year. And I wanted to ask you, So how hard is that going to be for the skaters if they're kind of in that, do I want to take a season off? Do I want to continue? How hard would it be for them to prepare to compete next season while they would do the tour?
I mean, I guess it depends who you are, first of all, because I feel like that's something that Eric and I could do if we were in that position. You know, we spent a lot of time over the years doing shows in the middle of the season, going to Italy for opera nights last year, 1 month before the Grand Prix season. So we have always done shows and used the practice of shows and the performance of shows as training. But of course, like, I realize that not everybody is willing to do that and take these times on tours and shows as seriously as I might personally have done it. But I mean, I think that Caitlin Osmond has an opportunity that she could, if she chooses, do her competitive short program every night on tour and keep yourself in shape and ready to compete. Her and Caitlin and Andrew are so experienced. If they choose to do it and they take it seriously, they will be able to show up at Canadians in top shape.
How about the sleeping and the food situation? I mean, what kind of food are you going to be eating? Like, will they have their athlete food? Or are we talking like...
Well, it depends.
Okay.
Probably bus food after a show. That's usually what happens. And that's kind of difficult on tour because for this tour and sometimes it's nice, you're going to go do your show, do your meet and greet, and get on a bus and drive throughout the night to another city. And you just order food. Like the tour will order food from a restaurant. But you can always choose to find healthy options. And once you arrive the next morning in whatever city we're going to, you know, you can make the choice to go to a health food store or local store and pick up something healthy. And I mean, most of the time, I think we're going to be spending the evening like sleeping on the bus to get to the next venue. But then we'll have all day, the day of a show there that you can get a workout in, or you can go eat some good food or rest or whatever you need to do.
Sleeping on the bus is a little off.
Yeah. Bunk beds.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of cool, but I've only done it for like 1 day. I've never done it for 2 months. So we'll see.
Could get old. Yeah. Well, I want to ask, so you have been a seated skater before. So when you're put in for the Grand Prix, at what point do you pick your countries, and what was for where you wanted to go to the Grand Prix, and what was your strategy in, you know, designing your season? So from my own experience, what happens is, of course, we know that the seeded skaters are 1 to 6 at Worlds. And if you finish in the 1st to 3rd at Worlds, so you were a world medalist, those 3 don't go against each other in the Grand Prix series. So it starts at the world champion making their choice of where they want to go. And for us, it involved us telling Skate Canada we would like NHK and Skate Canada this year. And sometimes recommending to Skate Canada, will you please choose so-and-so from the 4th to 6th rank? Because they have to pick somebody in that 4th to 6th rank. And sometimes you want to compete against somebody more than you want to compete against somebody else. Who did you want to compete against?
I mean, it depends on the season. Like sometimes
Did you want to go against the
low? It was early, so we might have wanted an easy event. So it was like, please pick that 6th place or the one in that ranking that we felt we had a better chance at beating, which wasn't always the case. Skate Canada tends to be tough fields, so it was often that we were against like a crazy tough field anyways. But sometimes people will put that request forward, and then the 2nd place person will. I don't know how the federations catch drift of this. Like when I was 3rd at Worlds, let's say, I don't know how Skate Canada caught drift. Like, oh, you're going to get NHK because all the other events are taken by the 1st and 2nd place. I don't know how they know these things. Maybe they're all communicating with each other. Who knows? But generally, the 1st place, the 2nd place will make their pick, and then 3rd place gets kind of the 2 events that are left.
So usually you want to go to Japan because they have the good gifts and the good fans, and you want to build up your following in Japan. Yeah.
It depends. Yeah. I mean, we enjoyed going to Japan because the scheduling worked. NHK was last, and Skate Canada was 2nd. So it gave us an entire month between our Grand Prix. So for 3 years, that's what we did. And then what happened was last year, Eric and I were no longer seated. So we didn't get a choice in what events we did. But we gave our opinion of what we would like, and we told Skate Canada. Last year it happened that Skate America was the last event, not NHK. But we really liked having that 1 month between our 2 Grand Prix. So we said if it's possible to please have the USFSA pick us for Skate America, we'd like to keep that same schedule. So for us, it was more about the scheduling of the events and less about wanting to actually be in Japan, which of course all the skaters want to be in Japan, but the scheduling was favorable to us.
So the thing about that is when you saw that Aliona was going to be competing there and the Chinese, that was a tough field. So did you say, crap, when you saw that list? Like that's...
Well, we ended up with 2 really hard Grand Prix last year. And what actually happened was because we weren't seeded, Skate Canada had to take 2 seeded skaters for Skate Canada's event. So they choose the Germans, or the Germans wanted to go there maybe, and Dylan and Lubov, who were seeded. And then they chose the French. And then they chose one of the Chinese teams. So you have 4 strong teams. And, of course, we wanted to do Skate Canada. And then our federation told us, okay, we'll give you Skate Canada, but you need to be aware that this is the field. And it's the toughest Grand Prix field this year on the circuit. If you want, we can send you to China instead of Canada, where China was a much easier field. And I mean, that we took a couple of days to consider that. We were coming off of a terrible World Championships, a rough season. And it was like, going to Skate Canada in that tough field, we might not make the Grand Prix final. We were taking a big risk. But then at the same time, we were like, you know what? At the Olympics, we have to compete against all these people. So why not just do it in October, see where we stand, and learn what we have to do to improve. So we took the chance to go to 2 tough events last season where we were given the option to choose maybe one little bit weaker event, and we chose not to do that.
And does that help you through summer training? Because I imagine if you know you're going to have a easier early Grand Prix, it's easier to kind of not slack off a little bit, but you don't have the same level of intensity knowing you have to go again.
It did. And you know what it did is it made us skate better. For a few years, we won our Grand Prix, but we were at easy events and we were skating terribly. We won NHK with 128 in our long ones, which is a very, very low score. So having the challenge of tough competitors, it's always made us better. We know that we're going to rise to the occasion in that situation, and that's what happened last season. We were at 2 extremely hard events, and it forced us to be ready early and to show up with our A game, and we did. If the fields were weaker, maybe it wouldn't have had the same intensity.
Mm-hmm. No, how about?
But not everybody has that. Just goes about it in that way. That was just the way we approached it.
So do you like when NHK is the 6th event? Because I'm for years it was always Skate America was the first, then Skate Canada, then either Nations Cup / Cup of China, and you move across. And now that NHK has moved around, it's very confusing about what it.
Yes, NHK was lost for a really long time, and you just you get stuck in that routine of this is the order of all the events, and it was really weird when. Last season, I was I'm at Skate America, and it's the end of November, but it's supposed to be October. It was so strange.
Yeah, I don't like
Skate
it.
Canada luckily keeps on staying in that second spot.
I
don't think Skate Canada's it's always Halloween. Always. I like that.
So now how about when Papadakis was on Instagram yesterday being like, where am I going to the Grand Prix? Obviously, she knew that she was where she was going because she was never won. So is she looking to see who she is against at these events?
See, that's very possible.
Okay.
Sometimes that would be our curiosity. We knew we were going to Canada and Japan, but it's okay, who are we against? Is it a hard field? Is it an easy field? Are our friends there? Are we going to make the final? That was always the thought process when you read these things. But also sometimes there's that excitement to announce because you can't tell people until it's officially announced. So you also have that type of excitement as well, that you're okay, I can finally spill the beans and tell everybody I'm going to France and Japan or wherever she's being chosen to go to.
So how long in advance do some people know where they're going if you're seated?
Not so long in advance, maybe a few days.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so...
I got word last year, Skate Canada's tough. We could switch you out with Cup of China. We had 2 days to make that decision.
Okay, so looking at the pair field for Skate America. Now, Skate America is an early event. Sometimes the Russians don't train their full programs. We have Alexa and Chris now being coached by Aliona. They're sending Kane and Leduc. obviously they always have the TBD spot for the U.S., which is annoying as every year.
But it keeps people motivated to try to work hard to get that spot.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good thing because then you might have 5 or 6 teams in the U.S. that are all going to like have this dogfight for it, and I like that.
Do you think they should give it to Deanna and Nate?
I think it's very likely Deanna and Nate will get it, but I also think it could be very likely Deanna and Nate will get an assignment when people withdraw from other places.
Okay.
They are going to be high on that pecking order. So I'm assuming the USFSA is betting on that happening.
So
there's always withdrawals, and they're going to be up there to be chosen when somebody withdraws.
Now, okay, so they're up there. So do you think that they'll give someone else the TBD and let them get another spot? Or do you think that they will wait until the last minute to kind of...
That's hard to call. That's a hard call because, I mean, in my opinion, I'm going to assume that there's going to be quite a few withdrawals. Mm-hmm. And the substitutes are few and far between. They're one of the highest ranked substitutes. They will be likely chosen. But you can never bank on people withdrawing. You don't want to do that. But I don't think it's the end of the world if they have one assignment and do 2 senior Bs. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that if another team proves to have potential throughout the summer. But if nobody else is showing that they're even close to the level of Deanna and Nate, then of course Deanna and Nate, in my opinion, would be the likely candidate.
So how about the 2 Chinese teams here? We have Yu and Zhang, and then Li and Ji.
You know that's the girl that did singles at Worlds for China.
Oh, okay.
And the Olympics. She's their single skater.
Okay.
Now I have a question, though, about this, because they've never skated together before, so how are they on the selection for a Grand Prix?
That's a really good question, Megan. How are they on the selection?
And it's not a host event. This is not Cup of China where they can put anybody they want in.
Is this because there are so few pairs right now?
No, because there's many teams that only have one event that competed last year. So this is like this mystery. I don't understand how they were chosen. You know, sometimes if you were a previously seeded skater, so when Zhang got a new partner, he had been ranked so high, he was still going to get Grand Prix. But this girl is skating with a junior boy, and now they got Skate America, and I don't understand because I thought there was like an order of season best and world rankings you have to choose from. So if any of our viewers out there have the answer, I am dying for it.
I have no idea. Hawk and Blomer from Germany.
I'm expecting them to be highly improved this year.
And his brother, so I had followed his brother independently of realizing that they were related, because his brother is a ballet dancer and came up as like someone that you should follow on Instagram in the suggestions. And I was like, oh, he has interesting pictures. I followed his brother and then wound up being like, oh, they're related. Figured that out.
Oh my gosh, that's so random. I had no idea.
Small world.
Talented family.
Yeah. Efimova and Korovin and Tarasova and Morozov. So are you betting on Tarasova and Morozov having a good year this year? What is your take on this?
I'm betting on them winning in that field. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know what their music choices are. I don't know what programs they've chosen. So it's really hard to make an educated guess on that. I'm hoping that they will come out with a better stylistic long program to show their strengths like their short program was last year. If that's the case, I think that they would end up being maybe unbeatable this season. But it's hard to say because we don't know what their programs are, nor do we know who's choreographing them, or do I know. So it's hard to make a guess until we see that type of information. But I do think that they will be the strongest team in that field. They'll be the team to beat in that field.
How much of a push do you think Alexa and Chris get being the top American team there, having it be in the U.S. against Yu and Zhang?
It depends on how they skate.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they'll be the top team, but at U.S. Nationals, Tara and Danny were pretty close to them. Mm-hmm. So it depends on the day who skates and does what. I think also, like in the prep to the Grand Prix and the Senior Bs, who's building momentum? It's likely Alexa and Chris will do a Senior B. The Chinese don't tend to do many Senior B competitions, so Skate America might be their first event. whereas Lex and Chris can get a little bit of ground building underneath them on the senior Bs, maybe doing one or two of them before Skate America. And if they do well there, I think that they will be in good standing to challenge the Chinese.
Are you as curious to see what Aliona does with them as everyone else? Or do you think it's going to be too soon to tell in October?
October may be too soon to tell. I guess it depends on how much time they're actually going to spend with her between now and then. I'm curious what type of programs they've come up with their new team of coaches and choreographers. They were already a very high level, highly skilled pair team. So I don't really expect them to come out with this new and improved twist because they already have this amazing twist. When she lands the throws, they already have gorgeous throws. You know what I mean? So I think it's going to be more of, are they going to be more consistent? Because they already have all the skills that are required, except for maybe consistency and some sort of standout program, some sort of special standout program that'll make you.
Do you think physically that she's going to be making them train harder than they trained in the previous seasons?
I would imagine that Aliona will make anybody train very hard. I don't know how their training habits were before. So is it going to be different in terms of hours or different in terms of what they're focusing on? Aliona was such a great competitor. So I'm assuming that she's going to be able to offer them a lot of guidance in that regard. And I think that's one of the big missing links over the last few seasons with them. So,
how did Aliona train? Did you see her train?
No, never. Eric trained with her.
Okay.
But he said that was it was like a different Aliona because he trained with her with Ingo and Robin. And Aliona is very different in the environment that she had with her coaches and Bruno. She's like a different person. So I'm assuming that she trained differently the last few years with Bruno than she did in previous years. I just see her doing a million things every day.
Yeah.
I don't know though. I really don't know.
Okay.
She's kind of like a mystery to me, but like an interesting mystery.
Well, Skate Canada's the next week, and standout pairs there: Mortowers and Marinaro, Pong and Jin, James and Cypress, and I guess Boykova and Kozlovsky, Denny and Fraser, Alexandrovskaya and Windsor, and Walsh and Michaud. What do you make of this field? You have
Drew, your friend Drew is there.
I know. Drew and Camille. Drew and Camille, are they going to have a triple twist by then? That's...
No, because I don't see them.
Yeah.
They want to compete on the Grand Prix. That's what they're going to need. That field is pretty open because I think that Denny and Fraser are going to hopefully have some improvements as they've made some changes in their skating.
Denny and Fraser had a new coach every 18 months, every 14 months or so.
Well, I'm back to coaches that they had before, but maybe that was when they were at their best with these coaches. So maybe it'll bring them at least back to that level. When they were winning medals on the Grand Prix, remember when they won a medal at Skate America?
The thing is, if they don't have a second side-by-side jump, I think it's going to be very difficult for them.
It will be very difficult, but they're a team that can skate clean with a mistake and still get a 120 to a 125 score. I'm more interested to see what type of momentum the French team is going to start creating for the next 4 years for themselves. This is an opportunity for them to really push forward and prove that, the top three in the world and maybe further to be the best in the world is where they belong. So it'll be interesting to see what they're doing. I'm curious if they're still going to try to throw quad with the new rules, because it doesn't seem like the points make it worth it at all for anybody to try to throw quads, which is very sad and unfortunate. So I'm curious what their whole strategy is going to be with that type of stuff.
What do you think about them not using John Kerr again for choreography? They were using Cizeron and they were also using Charlie White.
Two great people and two great skaters that don't quite have a reputation as choreographers yet. So it's really hard to know what.
I thought that was risky.
What they're going to come up with.
I think, new choreographers tend to choreograph for themselves a lot rather than have the experience of working with someone else. And I just thought they were on a roll with John Kerr.
Yeah, I did find that was a little bit strange because John Kerr's programs for them seemed to be what set them apart and kind of brought them to this new level that they reached. So I'm curious to see if the changes for the better or not. I guess that's the only way to put it.
Yeah. Now, as far as Kirsten and Michael, do you think they're a solid bet for the silver here?
I would assume so, yes. I'd say that it should be safe, a safe guess, a safe bet. The Chinese team, Peng and Jin, they're unpredictable. Sometimes they can score 132 when they make a mistake in a long, and sometimes they make one mistake and they score 120. I never know kind of what type of PCS they're going to get and what type of favors and rewards from the judges. They're a team that I wouldn't forget about in that field. They could be as high as second, and they could be as low as sixth or seventh.
How about Alexandrovskaya and Windsor? Do you think they...
Well, they're training in Montreal now.
Okay.
With my husband, but I haven't seen them, and I don't know what type of programs they've come up with either for the season, but they could be a wild card in a field like this where there's a lot of opportunities. If somebody misses and they hit, that could be a big opportunity for them.
Okay. Finland, we have Ziegler and Kiefer, Julianne and Charlie, Sway and Han. Is Sway even skating right now? I have heard that she's still off the ice the last time I had heard. So
yeah, I haven't really heard anything about the Chinese skating since this whole no events and judges suspension. So they're a team that I doubt will show up on the Grand Prix. And if they do, I hope that they're amazing, but I'm not banking on it.
We have the North Korean team, Delamonica and Guaris, Pavlyuchenko and Kodyakin, and Zabiako and Enbert from Russia. This is a really interesting, first of all, the event in Finland, so new, obviously.
Do they have a name, or is it just called, like, Finland Grand Prix?
Grand Prix of Figure Skating Helsinki is what it says. So, this is a big opportunity. It's a good
event, because there's, like, 5 teams that are all in, like, this same 5 to 10, 5 to 12th place in the world. Mm-hmm. And they're all, like, closely clumped, you know, like Julianne and Charlie, the Italians, the North Koreans, and Bert. They could all be second or fifth on the day. Assuming that Shui and Han are there. And if Shui and Han aren't there, there's a major title up for grabs with any of those teams.
And what do you think about Valentina not being on the Grand Prix this season? Are they done competing? They haven't really said what they're doing.
Yeah. I have no idea. We have no Valentina. We have no Stoblov and Clement.
Yeah.
And I have not heard, like, any news about, like, an official announcement from either of them. I thought that Stoblov and Clement announced they were doing another season. That was the last I heard. So I have no idea.
Okay.
But I don't think it's good that neither of those teams is doing the Grand Prix, but it provides opportunities for everybody else. And I think that Grand Prix in Finland, for pairs at least, like, that's an interesting field. And somebody is going to seize that opportunity, and hopefully it'll lead them on to greater success. And somebody is going to lose the opportunity to seize the moment, and it'll be interesting to see how it all stacks up.
Yeah, NHK is another interesting field too, because you have more. This is a really competitive one that I'm actually really looking forward to.
I think NHK was the hardest one, like, on paper when I was looking at it.
You've got Mortars, Marinaro, Peng and Jin, Sui and Han, Hawk and Blumert, Suzaki and Kihara, Zabiako and Enbert, Tara and Danny, and Alexa and Chris. There's a lot of blondes at a similar level that are skating there.
Yeah.
Zabiako and Enbert, Peng and
Jin.
We
can't forget about them. All of a sudden last year, Zabiako and Enbert's scores started to go up and up and up and up and up. So I'm not expecting that to stop this year, as they're a very clear number 2 Russian team. Let's not forget every field that they're in, that they are a top team.
Mm-hmm. Rostelecom, not as strong of a field. You have Alexandrovskaya and Windsor, Ziegler, Kiefer, Delamonica and Guaris, Efimova and Korovin, Pavlyuchenko and Kodyakin, Tarasova, Morozov, Kane and Leduc, and Stellato and Bartholomew. You have to think Tarasova and Morozov should be an easy win there.
An easy silver win for Delamonica, I think.
And then Grand Prix of France, Julianne and Charlie, Yu and Zhang, the North Koreans, Esbart and Novolovsyov, I don't even know this French team, James and Tsipras, Boykova and Kozlovsky, Denny and Fraser, and Tara and Danny. So you have to think...
That's another interesting event with the Zhang, the North Koreans, Julianne and Charlie, and the French.
And And what do you expect?
That's going to be interesting for the podium. So those are 4 good teams.
What do you expect about the North Koreans? What's your?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Like, I mean, they'll be very happy to have got Grand Prix. That was their goal, to get on the Grand Prix circuit. We haven't heard from them here since Worlds. I'm assuming they're going to keep their long because that was new last season, but they've had that short program for 2 years. So hopefully they come out with a new short that's just as entertaining and crowd pleasing as the one that they've had the last 2 years, because that was kind of what helped them achieve the results that they did, was those solid short programs that showed off their unison and their strengths, like a nice twist and good pair skills.
Well, in the dance field, there's a lot of Thank You Canada going on because Caitlin and Andrew are not competing. It really opens a lot of doors across all of the events for a lot of medalists. So you have to think, looking at Skate America, it's pretty much a solid bet that Hubble and Donahue will win, and that the silver medal will probably go to either Guignard and Fabry, maybe Zahorsky and Guerrero.
Piper and Paul are not.
Piper and Paul are not there. So that's a pretty sparse field.
Somebody could get themselves into the Grand Prix final with a silver medal at Skate America.
In Skate Canada, it's Piper and Paul. There's Caroline and Shane Fierce, Wang Liu, and we have to look at Sinitsyn, Katsalapov, Smart and Diaz, and Hubble and Donahue. It looks like it's probably Hubble and Donahue's to win, with Piper and Paul right behind them.
Yeah, that's what I would assume that.
And then more.
I'm interested to see people's programs, but when you look at these Grand Prix lists, things seem kind of predictable in the ice dance events.
I think the bronze is more interesting for this because will Sinitsyn and Katsalapov show up prepared? Last season they weren't prepared. In the Olympic season, all sorts of speculation. Is it injuries? Is it, were they going to be able to compete, not be able to compete? So I think that's an interesting thing to look at. In Finland, another really wide open field with Guignard and Fabry, Popova and Mozgov, Stepanova and Bukin, Hurtado and Kalyavin, Carrera and Ponomarenko, Chalk and Bates, and McNamara and Carpenter. It could be a win.
Between Chalk and Bates and Bukin.
Yeah, Stepanova and Bukin. So that's and Chalk and Bates with Marie France. She's been off the ice as well after she.
Yeah, I have heard nothing of that. I wonder if they're in Montreal yet. I haven't heard.
I've not heard of anyone saying that they're in Montreal yet. So they've been a little quiet. So
yeah, well, she had surgery on her foot.
Yeah.
Which hopefully will alleviate any pain. Hopefully they'll come out with really good programs this year. I'm curious. We've only really ever seen them with Igor, so it's interesting to have they're going to hopefully have a fresh look and a fresh take.
And interesting that they're continuing. He's done 3 Olympic cycles already, so.
I didn't even, I forget that. Emily Samuelson, 2010, that's crazy. Because he's even that old. He was just a baby in Vancouver.
Yeah.
But, Paul Poirier was in Vancouver as well. And he's still really young, and he's already done 3 cycles as well.
Well, in ice dance, they used to stay in forever, so maybe that'll continue. So
seems like it.
And in pairs, Allione was in forever. So
and Zach is still doing it. Yeah. We don't know how old he is, and he's still going. So
we don't know how old he is. That's NHK Trophy, Caroline and Shane, Papadakis and Cizeron think that they've got an easy win there. So Horsky and Guerrero, Nazarova and Nikitin. Hawaii and Baker and the Parsons. Definitely look for a medal for Hawaii and Baker. I would think that
I was going to say that could be a good entrance to them to the Grand Prix podium. I don't know if they've ever won a medal in Grand Prix before, but that would be a big opportunity for them.
Yeah, I would think an opportunity for Caroline and Shane as well. Russell Yankovska and Lucas, Murtado and Reed, Ev Dopomiova and Bazin, Stepanova and Bukin, Hurtado and Kalyavin, Carrera and Ponomarenko and Chalk and Bates. Another kind of.
I'm curious about Hurtado and her partner.
Yes.
They were quite impressive at the Olympics, and I'm curious how they will keep that momentum building throughout this season. And with the whole Spanish ice dance dynamic, because again, they only have 1 team for Worlds, but they have 2 equally strong teams. So I think that their results and their scores on the Grand Prix will be significant in terms of which team we'll see at Worlds.
Yeah, and Chalk and Bates, again, how will they step up? Will they move up? You know, they've been kind of stagnating for a while, so it's interesting to see if this change will help.
I think it now with their coaching change, it's kind of like a now or never. It's either going to go up or it's going to continue to go down. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't think that they've been going down, though. I have to say that they, at Worlds, they still did quite well, and they just had an unfortunate mistake at the Olympics.
And I think material was a problem for a long time for them. They had some free dances that were not up to their level, I think.
We know that we agree to disagree on that because they had the free dance that you didn't like and that I argued with you all year that I thought was great.
I hated their American in Paris free dance. I hated when they did Les Miserables.
That's not one.
Just going years back, I did not.
It was last season.
I know.
Argued with me all year, and I told you that I thought it was great. I loved it. And we just weren't on the same page. And it's
not
okay.
on the same page.
Everybody's allowed a different opinion, but I personally liked it.
Okay, the Grand Prix of France. Piper and Paul, Papadakis and Cizeron obviously are going to win there. Sinitsyn, Katsalapov, Smart and Diaz, Hawaii and Baker, and the Parsons. That's another interesting one. I would look for Piper and Paul, obviously, to get the silver medal there. Probably another.
I'm looking for Piper and Paul to be silver in both their events and pushing Hubble at Skate Canada for that gold and getting themselves in the Grand Prix final. I think that that's what Piper and Paul need to do this fall, and knowing them, that's what their focus is. They're not going to accept anything less than that.
So the ladies' field is probably, it's a pretty boring, I would say, Grand Prix looking across because a lot of the skaters are not returning. But you look at Skate America.
Carolina is.
I'm sorry?
Carolina is.
Carolina is.
It's so impressive. Like, I have so much respect for her.
Do you think she'll be competitive this year, though? I mean, she really couldn't get the triple Lutz last year. That was...
But if she does everything else, she doesn't even need it. That's the thing.
I know.
If she does a triple and she does 2 flips and 2 loops or something, and especially now with this +5, -5, it could be a good year for her.
Do you think this will be her last season? How far?
I have no idea. Okay. I wasn't even expecting her to come back after the whole ordeal of her not being able to compete. So, I mean, she loves it. I love her. We all love watching her. So,
yeah. It's interesting. It seems like a changing of the guard in the ladies, especially with Raphael taking on Meagan Honda and Yoon-Soo Lim. But Yoon-Soo only has one event. I would think that she's probably high up on the list.
But she's going to up with the second one as people withdrawing.
Yeah.
It's always an easy bet that at least somebody's going to withdraw from one field along the Grand Prix. Like there's always quite a few.
All right. So Skate America, we've got Lona Hendricks, Lorene Lecavier, Meagan Honda, Satoko Miyahara, Kiori Sakamoto, Rudinova, Sama Durova, Surskaya, Nicole Rajic from the Upper West Side, Star Andrews, Brady Tennell, and the TBD. Who's going to get the TBD from America? We have some people that are continuing that I'm shocked.
Well, if Gracie's serious about this comeback, she might get the TBD.
So Gracie was just at a show, and she didn't skate in the show. She was the MC.
Okay.
That makes me concerned that she won't be ready for Restelicon. That's kind of... At what point...
If she shows up at some point in the summer, in late summer, ready, I wouldn't be surprised that the U.S. gives her that Skate America spot. If she doesn't, I don't know.
It looks like it'll be Courtney Hicks or Angela Wang if she doesn't.
I'm always on Team Courtney Hicks if she gets it together and does it. Like, I'm such a big time fan, but
how old is she now? I mean, she's
not even old. That's the thing. These people, we see them since they're 13, so we feel like they're old, but they're not.
Angela Wang has to be old, though. I feel like we've been seeing her for a long time do good shorts and not great longs. So,
she had like almost a great long at U.S. Nationals this year. She did. She had a good long for her.
I know. It's rough.
Maybe somebody's going to just come out of the woodworks this summer and Brady Tennell did the last year and show up and nobody expects it and get that spot and end up medaling at Skate America. I mean, who knows? Anything is possible.
The Japanese ladies could sweep Skate America. Brady could win Skate America. It's
going to depend on if Satoko has clean jumps.
So now,
I think that the -5 +5 will be more favorable to Brady than Satoko.
Yeah, what do you think about Satoko's jumps, and especially not just the +5 -5, but the under rotation rules?
Yes. Yes. Okay. So I'll be looking to see some improvement in that area from her.
And things that we hear about Meagan Honda in training is that she's the type that works hard during her lesson, but not outside of her lesson. So that's not...
Well, then, at least she's always in a lesson. That's the answer to that. Never let her be by herself.
It's going to be interesting to see her with Raphael.
Yeah, she's always a wild card in those events. I mean, she could be the top Japanese in that field, too.
Yeah. And Kiori Sakamoto, another...
I like Kiori, too. So, she should have won, or she was very close to winning Skate America last year, but I thought that she should have won.
So now Skate Canada. We've got Larkin, Elaine Chartrand, Gabby Daleman, Wakaba Higuchi, Yura Matsuda, Mako Yamashita, Terzan Bayeva, Davin Choi, Medvedeva, Panenkova, Tuktamisheva, and Mariah Bell.
And Tuktamisheva is still there.
Again, how old is she at this point?
Not as old as we think she is.
Not as old, but...
I love it. I love that she's still going. I love that, like, kind of her drop in result in the world and in Russia has not deterred her motivation, and that she just... I mean, I would hope and assume that she has some personal goals and fulfillment that she's looking for, and I love it. And I hope that she comes to Skate Canada with that triple axel.
How old is skating?
She said she's going to have it.
In skating years, how old is she? She's somewhere between like 35 and 42. Years.
I don't think so. I don't think she's that old.
Like, I mean, it just feels so long that we've seen her, but...
It is, and she was winning Grand Prix at like 14.
I know.
That's why. I mean, I think Evgenia is the star of that field, and I think it'll be interesting to see Wakaba and Gabby and where they're at in October. And
I think Wakaba is on the rise ever since, midway through last season. It seems like she really...
I love her. She's one of my favorite girls right now in skating. I love that she just sells her footwork and the energy and enthusiasm when she skates and her powerful skating and jumps. And I love it, but she's prone to be sometimes inconsistent. So we'll see how she can handle, I guess, the pressure of being a world medalist.
And then I think Mariah Bell, it's going to be really interesting. It's kind of now or never for her.
Oh, yeah, I forget about her there, too.
I mean, it's either her year to be
Does
U.S.
she have 2 events, or could she be the TBD for Skate America?
No, she does have 2 events.
That's so, okay.
Yeah. I think for her, it's either the year to be U.S. champion or it's the year to go on tour afterwards. I think it's kind of now or never.
Yeah. I agree. But I don't think in a field of Wakaba and Gabby and Evgenia that she has a chance for the podium, unfortunately, in that event.
No. So looking at Finland, it's Karen Chen, Rizhikova, Zagitova, Panenkova, Konstantinova, Shirewa.
So many odds.
Rika Hongo, Carolina Kostner, Nicole Schott, and Lona Hendricks. So you would think Zagitova, you made a strong case for Carolina Kostner.
Yeah.
Kaori Sakamoto. I'm curious what happens with Karen Chen.
I mean, I like Zagitova, or however you pronounce her name, but I think that she announced her free skate is to Carmen. And
short is to Phantom.
Yeah. I can't with those classical warhorse musics. But I assume that she's likely going to do it very well. She gives full commitment to her interpretation of her programs. I just think it's going to be so interesting for a skater like her to see how this new range of scores is going to work. She can't do all those elements in the second half, but I'm expecting her to have the triple lutz, triple loop in the second half and all the difficult stuff to maximize on that.
Yeah, I'm curious what's going to happen.
Her 2-2 to Carmen.
Yeah, also... She's not always a pressure skater. We've seen at times that she has faltered. It's going to be interesting to see because she's obviously a favorite.
That she skates well because it was devastating at Worlds and, when she had that unfortunate skate.
I imagine that Eteri is going to be preparing her for blood this season. Like, she has never been prepared. And Eteri will be so positive with her now because she's her top skater no matter what. Like, I'm excited to see what's going to happen.
I'm interested, though, to see, not so much, like, I can imagine she's going to have an interesting choreographed free skate to Carmen that is full of interesting interpretation that she will have full commitment to, which I really appreciate, the commitment to the programs. But I'm just curious to see what type of scoring this +5 to -5 is going to have on a skater that was maximizing the judging system, the point system, the last few years.
I'm excited to see Orser against Terry at the final in singles, because those are two strong coaches who haven't really faced off before. And
yeah, that's going to be very interesting.
Yeah. At NHK, not a strong American field. Mariah Bell, Courtney Hicks, Angela Wang. We've got Tuk Dimitrova, Setskova, Radinova, Devon Choi, Miyahara.
It'd be interesting to see Dab in, because she was really building up some momentum at the end of last season at the Olympics. So I'm curious to see where she's going to stand in these fields.
Yeah, Satoko, Miyahara. The pair of
I
girls
like Miyahara as well. She's one we can't forget. She can pull out a 140-point long program, and she's done it a few times.
And then Gabby Daleman again. Again, Rostella Kam, Gracie's on the list. Karen Chen, Alexei Paganini, Zagitova, Surskaya, Yunsu Lim, Tursunbayeva, Yamashita, Matsuda, and Higuchi, and Nicole Schott. So I don't anticipate a upset at Cup of Russia.
No.
But I think Wakaba could put in a strong bid for the silver. And then
yourself back to the Grand Prix final. That's going to be important.
And then France setting up the Grand Prix final. Brady Tennell, Setskova, Medvedeva, Konstantinova, Miyahara, Rika Kihira, Marin Honda, Carolina Kostner, May Bernice, and Lorene. So
Rika Kihira could be a surprise factor in the Grand Prix this year.
Yeah, I was looking. Does Rika Kihira? I don't think she has a second event, which is true.
I didn't hear you say her name before until right now. But I'm assuming even if she doesn't, she will have one as soon as people start with that.
I think she would also. There's a TBD at NHK, so I imagine she'll get that. She has a triple X.
Yes.
So.
And I'm also thinking, I'm also curious to see the type of programs and packaging that Brady will have this year, and I'm expecting her to challenge for the gold at Skate America and for a spot at the Grand Prix final, which would be big for her to qualify for the Grand Prix final this year.
All right, so what do you make of the Nathan Chen situation in the men? He's going to Yale. He's spending the summer with Raphael. Right now he's getting programs. What do you make of him training on his own at Yale? We don't know if he has a coach. Is his mom
Maybe
moving?
Raph is going to go there.
What?
Maybe Raph is going to go to the university with him a couple of times a month.
I mean, how often, if Ralph goes a couple of times a month, does it matter? I mean, what?
Maybe he'll sit on Skype by the boards and talk to him. I mean, that's interesting. Remember Michelle Kwan tried to go to school as well. Bless her for doing that. I don't know. I don't know Nathan that well. I don't know. Is he the type of guy who's extremely self-motivated and he's just gonna work and do his run-throughs without any problem, or does he need the guidance and the instruction from a coach every minute? I don't know. There's skaters that can work by themselves sometimes, and there's skaters that can't. And I have no idea which category Nathan falls into.
I imagine he works hard. The only thing that gives me pause is he really did seem to lose the triple axel when he was with Marina. I remember he was spending time with Marina at one point, and then...
Yeah, early in the season. 2 years ago, was it?
Yeah, there have to be coaches around. Yeah, I was thinking maybe Matt Savoy could, work with Raph, looking on his training. But that's going to be an interesting situation, and no one's asking, and we don't have Ice Network to answer.
No one things anymore.
I know.
I'm curious to see what type of workload is he going to do full time at Yale.
I don't know.
Which I think it's totally doable to go to school full time and to skate. We are dedicated. Athletes are dedicated. They have time management skills. I don't see any reason why he can't be successful in this scenario, except for the factor of will he have a coach or not.
And it's Yale.
Yeah.
And does he want to have a social life? And
probably a little bit. On weekends. I don't know. Again, I'm just guessing. I really don't know Nathan at all, except for his great skating.
I mean, he seems to be more laid back off the ice. So, yeah, I don't know.
But we saw that he clearly works hard because he was on Stars on Ice doing quads every night in shows. Yeah. So he was clearly being rigorous with himself and treating the shows seriously. So that shows us something of what he's capable of doing without a coach by his side every second.
And he currently has the long hair, so he's really in summer mode. So that's how you know with him. Yeah,
I'm sure he's going to have another great program from Shaylin for his short program.
Yeah, I'm curious how this is going to work with a +5, -5, because those quads are dicey at times. So
including the rotation on them.
yes,
but when he hits them, worth big money.
Yeah,
and when he does his quadlets, it's gorgeous. That's a nice +3 in that range of +5.
I'm curious how his components are his scores going to magically rise, or I don't know. And Nam Nguyen, I'm curious to see what happens there. Which way this goes in his development, I think, at this point.
Yeah, I wonder if he's still with the same coach or what his scenario is. I don't know that personally. Now, I think Vincent's components and Vincent's success in the Grand Prix is going to be dependent on what type of programs he has. Mm-hmm. Do we know who's choreographing his programs or what his music choices are?
I know he worked with Mia Hamada.
For him.
Yeah, I don't know. Now, Skate Canada, we've got Jason Brown. He's a skater with the +5, -5 that could help him.
Yes, it will. This will work in big favor of Jason.
But if he doesn't have a triple axel,
he'll have a triple axel.
I mean,
if he's healthy, I think he'll be able to get it consistent again.
I think with a new coach, he'll have that extra motivation for everything to click. I mean, this is kind of a do or die year for him. He needs to make worlds. He needs to do well.
And I think in a way, him moving away like he has is going to allow him to take ownership for his career a little bit. And having coaches like Brian and the coaches at the cricket club that aren't, they're busy, so he's not the sole focus, which is fine. He's going to get attention from all the coaches without a problem. But I just feel like it's not as motherly as maybe his other coach was, so I feel like it's going to allow him to have ownership for his own career a little bit more. And I'm thinking that is going to help him down the road.
There's going to be less shenanigans. I think just less of the monument stuff. That, is he going to show up at both Grand Prix? All of that, I think, is going to be. I think it's just going to be more on the straight and narrow with his preparation.
Yeah.
So.
I agree.
I think he's going to be more of, train more like a top man, prepare more.
And he's not going to try quad unless it's consistent in practice. He's not going to put it in his program.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to have the fake out, is the quad coming, the quad's great, then we don't see the quad yet. I think that obviously Shoma Uno favored to win that event. Junhwa Cha from Korea, I think he's another one to watch as we move forward. Alexander Samarin.
And Alexander, he showed up at Skate Canada last year with all these quads and quadlets. We can't forget him, even if he wasn't at the Olympics or Worlds.
So Keegan Messing doing a quad in the harness. Do we care about this, Meagan?
I mean, it's really impressive, but
it's really impressive. But how
I
much?
don't care if I see it without the harness.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I want to see it without the harness.
And I believe he can probably do it without the harness.
Yeah, if there's anyone
that he could, but I feel like when you're strapped and being held, and it's not the same as jumping on your arm.
Aside from Hanyu, the only person I could see even attempting it would be Keegan Messing. Someone just very Elvis Stoiko-ish.
And you know what? I'm really hoping that Keegan's going to have a really great season. And I'm not saying this as a Canadian. I'm saying this purely as a skating fan and somebody who follows skating. And, Keegan is the type of skater that he can get +5s on his spins. Mm-hmm. He can rack up. He's the best spinner in the world. And I'm hoping he's going to have great programs. Last year, he had very, very well choreographed and character-driven programs, and he does that very well. I think he's always a little bit undermarked in his spins and in his components, and I'm hoping that now, after a successful Olympics and Worlds, hopefully becoming Canada's #1, he's going to be getting the scores he deserves because his skating skills are very smooth. He has crazy transitions in his programs. He's the best spinner in the world. If he skates consistently, I'm looking at those scores going higher.
Yeah, it's crazy to me. He'll always be the kid that showed up to Liberty with one green pair of tights on one leg, and then the other leg was a pair of jeans. Skating. For his costume, he was skating to the Hulk. It was It was an early season costume. He didn't have it. It was July, but he'll just always be that. But he.
You know what? Keegan is up in Alaska, whatever they're doing. He shows up at high performance camp every year in Toronto, and he's always the one the most prepared. He always looks like he's so prepared, and then he was training for the Olympics all summer, every year. So there, he's got a good team around him.
Yeah. as we look at the Finland, you got Boyang Jin, who's with Orser now. Yuri Kendricks, Bychenko, Hanyu. So Hanyu against Boyang Jin. I don't think Hanyu's back in Canada yet. I know he's still doing shows. So,
is he doing the Grand Prix? Last we heard before the Olympics, he could skate 45 minutes a day, and he was injured. So.
Yeah. So how healthy do you think he is now? He wasn't doing all of them, but I think he did do triple axel in the other show. I mean, how long does it take?
I haven't seen anything about the shows that he was doing, so that I'm not kind of aware of.
I saw an interview where he wasn't. I forget which jumps he was doing, but he was doing stuff that didn't hurt him, and he looked. What he could do looked great. Obviously, but there were no quads. And
I mean, he's probably going to be determined to win a third Olympic medal in the next this next quadrennial. Mm-hmm. So I'm not expecting him to go anywhere, but I'm wondering if he will be healthy enough to compete on the Grand Prix or not.
So I think he'll be at Worlds next year. Will he be in Finland?
And Worlds in Japan, right? So of course.
He is at
at Finland.
He's at Finland and Russia.
Yeah.
Because he's not seeded, which is because he didn't do Worlds. So.
And maybe he doesn't want to go against Shauna at NHK. Maybe he's made that decision not to, or somebody made that decision for him.
Okay. Yeah, so that's an interesting thing if he'll show up. Alexei Krasnozhan, Andrei Lazukin, Koliada. So that's
a pretty good field.
Yeah. Him against Boyang Jin, I think. And will Boyang Jin look different after, a couple of months?
I also like him in his Spider-Man program, and I love it.
It's time for him to step it up. He's done, beautiful quads for a long time. So, it's putting the rest of the package, fully together.
And it was heartbreaking to watch at Worlds. So, his 6-fall or 7-fall program. So I hope that he's able to kind of put that behind him.
Yeah, and I haven't seen him in the videos yet at the cricket club, but I think he is there.
Yeah, I have no idea about that.
NHK Trophy, we've got Vincent Zoe, Alex Johnson, he was a surprise, Dmitry Aliev, Denis Vasiliev, Shoma Uno, and Kevin Reynolds, I think. So
yeah, I'm still going.
Kevin, probably not that old either, feels very old at this point.
It's funny how we do that, because I do the same thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, are you 27, 28? And somebody will be like, no, I'm 21. Like, man, how long have you been skating against me? Yeah, it's funny how we see everybody like this. I've known Kevin and seen Kevin skate since he was 9 years old.
Okay.
So I feel like he's been around forever, but he's still young.
I just always remember him in the Thai. I think he had a Tarasova program at one point or something. So, yeah.
I think he wants to win a Canadian title before he retires. I think that, to me, that's why I see him continue.
Were you surprised to see Dennis 10 on the list?
Well, will he go? I mean, yes, I'm surprised.
Didn't Dennis 10 retire last year, or sort of retire?
Misha retired 2 years ago, and he's on the list.
No,
isn't he?
No, Misha's.
He's not?
No, I think he's solidly coaching at this point. Yeah, no, Mishigi is not on the list.
Okay.
I think he's actually retired.
Okay. Well,
at least for this month.
He wanted to keep skating. He could still be successful. But yeah, I thought I never know what Dennis is doing. I just never know.
I know. I thought he
sometimes
retired.
He shows up, sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he withdraws from a major event to compete at a very lower ranked event. He's so mysterious.
You never know where his training, who his coach is.
Yeah.
Rostelecom, it's Keegan Messing, Kvitishvili, Hanyu, Dennis 10, Artur Dmitriev, Koliada, and Krasnozhan. So you would think Hanyu, but we'll see if he...
could pull up some big numbers at home, and if he skates well. Yeah. Such a great skater. And he'll probably, I would assume, with this this new rule change, does not go for the quadlets next year unless it's consistent, because there's no point in having a kind of almost a guaranteed fall in your program. So unless that develops more consistency, I would expect him not to have it in his program.
What do you think so more of the Americans are, the top seeded Americans seem to be picking France or rather than going to NHK. Is that just the amount of time in between events? I mean, Jason would have had 2 weeks between Skate Canada and NHK. Nathan has a month, 5 weeks in between Skate America and France. I guess is that to come down?
That's good for him.
Yeah.
Especially when he's going to be going to school.
Yeah.
Maybe they were scheduled around like school's break in the fall, like university break. It's funny how it sometimes happens because over the years, Canada has just always sent kind of their B-ranked skaters to Skate America all the time. And I don't think it's by choice. I just think that's kind of what happened all the time. Maybe some of the higher ranked US skaters wanted to go to France. They want to go to Grenoble, or it was just the timing of the events.
Now, would you ever have wanted to do Skate America and Skate Canada back to back and then have like a month off and prepare for the final?
No, I don't think I could have ever competed back to back.
Okay.
I'm like amazed that people do that. And I'm even more amazed when they do it successfully. Because the week after a competition is usually like your lowest low. Whether the competition was good or bad, I drop like a rock that week.
How did Michelle do it all those years? She would go Skate America, Skate Canada.
Yeah.
One after the
and then I don't know how these people do it. And I guess Hubble and Donahue are doing that this year. Shui and Han are on the list for back-to-back events. I'm always amazed when people do this, and I guess
it's different continents.
Would rather just go all get it all done, take their break before the final. Yeah. Skate America to Skate Canada is not a lot of travel. Mm-hmm. There is a big time zone, like a couple hours time zone change, but.
Well, France is a tough field too. It's obviously you're trying to make the final, so and with the last event there's that extra little bump.
And there's extra stress at that last event.
Yeah,
it's like people are calculating and like things have to fall in particular orders, and then people are sitting at home waiting to see what's going to happen. And that last event is very interesting.
And it's right by Thanksgiving, so it's Nathan Chen, Jason Brown, Samarin, Aliev, Vasiliev, Tanaka, Samoan, Bessie Gay, Ponsert, Jin again, and then Nicolas Nadeau. Yeah, that's going to be a tough event,
Yeah, it is a good field there.
It's a good field.
The final Grand Prix always seem to be tough fields in all the disciplines.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a tough one this year.
Yeah.
So I guess
I'm expecting Nathan to win both of his events, so without a problem.
Which skater are you most curious to see this year?
I'm curious to see what long program Trasva and Morzov come up with. Mm-hmm. I'm curious to see how the new plus and minus and the some of the new changes is going to affect the Russian girls who all jump in the second half and maybe don't have such a well-balanced layout of a program but are extremely great at what they do. I'm more curious to see what skaters are going to seize the opportunity and start building something for the next 4 years. That's what this fall and this year really, or this Grand Prix series is going to be about. New faces that might show up out of nowhere. 4 years ago, Eric and I had been 7th at the Olympics, and then all of a sudden we won everything the next season. And even we didn't see that coming. So I feel like there's going to be people like that are just going to come up that we're not expecting. It could be a Brady Tennell. It could be a dance team. It could be a pair team. Who knows?
Yeah,
I think that's interesting.
Yeah, I was thinking about post-Olympic years and having covered skating a long time. That's one of my favorite seasons, actually, that it was just one of those things where people really seize the opportunity the year after. Because sometimes the post-Olympic years are rough in sports, but I think there's a lot of energy in going into this season with a lot of changes going on. All the teams in Montreal, everyone training in Toronto. I think it's going to have some new excitement. So,
and I'm excited to see if Genia is going to be healthy and back in the top of her game this fall, and which Russian girl really will be the best when they're both at their best. That makes me curious.
And I'm excited for the Junior Grand Prix with the Darius girls. How many new ones is she going to have?
Yes, and is that American girl that does the triple axel? She's going to be on the Junior Grand Prix?
She's too young.
She's too young still. Oh my god.
She's too young.
What's she gonna do?
But I've texted the gay dad. We're working on the skating skills. We had
her dad's her parents are a gay couple.
Yes.
Oh, good for them. Wow.
Who's on top of it? He knows his skating. There was a whole article about it last year. So she's all we have in America right now for ladies. We have no one. So
she was very good at the event that I saw her do the triple axel double toe.
Yes, I know. It needs to. Stand up straight.
I have hope for Brady. I have hope that she's so consistent, and if she can get some exciting program, and I use the word exciting because it needs to pop. I feel like
didn't they say she was
if she's
Romeo and
consistent,
Juliet?
I feel like she could be a consistent medal placement at an international level.
Yeah. And how do you think Gabby Delman is going to do this year? She is always a wild card. That's
such a wild card.
Such a wild card.
I mean, she has the opportunity to medal at both her Grand Prix and possibly make the final. So that's what she needs to do. She wants to continue to be a medal contender at the world level, and especially the Grand Prix finals in Canada. She's going to want to be at the Grand Prix final.
Will the Canadian skaters be watching the Grand Prix on the tour bus?
Oh, I will. So whoever wants to watch me, I'm sure Caitlin Weaver will, because she loves the skating just like I do.
Okay.
And probably just the two of us.
Okay.
I'll be watching all the Grand Prix. I'll be streaming it through the night from my little bunk bed.
We'll ask you for your opinions.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm curious to see people show up with their new programs as summer progresses. You know, we get clips on YouTube of training camps and small competitions, and I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I think it's time for a new crop to step it up. So I'm excited to see a new wave of skaters.
What's going to happen with the Chinese skaters, and I want an answer if anybody knows how this team got a Grand Prix. Yeah. Because I thought I knew it all, and I don't know. I don't know how they managed to get themselves there.
Is it easy to get in two disciplines? I mean, how did Valentina get Grand Prix with Hotarik? Or did she not?
He was a top 10 ranked skater in the world with his other partner.
That's right.
So he was already guaranteed a Grand Prix.
I don't know how they have them then. This is all new, and
yeah, I don't know, and I'm just curious because some teams only got one event that had been on the season best list, and then this team has never skated and they have a Grand Prix, and it's not their host Grand Prix. Let's remember that they would be eligible for Cup of China as a host pick, but this is not Cup of China.
And is Mervyn Tran going to compete this year internationally?
Yes.
He could get
in the U.S.
He could get a TBD spot for Skate America.
He could get the TBD spot.
I saw them doing side-by-side triple flips on Instagram. I mean, that looked promising. So.
Yeah, and that's pretty consistent. She's a really good jumper, and he is too. So they could be a team that could get that spot. Jessica Kalang and her partner, the new partner, could be a team that get that spot.
Since we have so many pairs in the U.S.,
which are pretty good, and they've aged out of the Junior Grand Prix, they could get that spot.
Yeah, this is a lot to
watch.
Does
Jim have any new teams or Delilah that could be coming up that get that spot?
I think TJ and Sarah would be the ones to get that spot. So
I'm assuming that they're all going to be competing throughout the summer, starting at Skate Detroit.
Yes. That
would be my guess with the U.S. pairs, especially with this one spot being open for Worlds. They are all going to try to show up early and make a point of being the best. Yeah. And hopefully it makes everybody better.
Hopefully we have to step it up in U.S. pairs. So
yes,
we have to get two pairs at Worlds back and move ahead. So,
and at least I feel like there is a lot of capable teams that should be able to at least be contending in the medal range at Grand Prix events, for those bronze medals sometimes. Like multiple, not just one team that has the potential to do that. They just need to stay healthy and have great programs and skate clean.
How competitive
it seems so easy, but we all know it's not that easy.
How competitive do you think Julianne and Charlie will be against Kirsten and Michael? Do you think that's going to be a tight competition?
I think that could be really interesting. If they both show up at Canadians and skate clean, it'll be interesting to see what the judges do. I haven't seen either long program, so it's hard for me to make that judgment because I haven't seen the long program of either team. I'm assuming they will both have good programs, and I think it's going to come down to which team skates better on the Grand Prix circuit and has the momentum going into nationals. That is going to be key because both of those teams have a chance to make the Grand Prix final, but if one of them makes it and the other one doesn't, I think that could kind of be telling on which team is the top team.
And if Luba is doing Cirque du Soleil, what is Dylan doing?
Modeling, acting.
Okay. Because they're not thanking Canada on the tour. I would imagine they would have had a chance to thank Canada on the tour, but She's
you know what? I don't know if they were even interested in that or if they were involved with the production of that. I know that the cast is not finished yet for the Thank You Canada tour. They will be adding acts, whether it's skating acts or other acts. I'm not sure, but there will be more people added.
Okay. Now, all Canadians are American?
All Canadians.
Okay.
We're just thanking Canada as Canadians. Right. Being the polite Canadian, saying thank you.
Okay. I'm curious what's going to happen with our American skaters because there are a lot of them. They like a lot of attention. They like a dramatic Instagram post.
The ones that are not doing your Grand Prix. Yeah. The Grand Prix for America? Yeah.
What's Ashley going to be doing? What's Adam going to be doing? We have a new...
Adam is going to keep himself busy in the limelight and in all his projects. I think that, you know, I don't think it's over that people want Adam for events and for appearances and for TV and for different things. So I'm assuming Adam will be very busy.
Will they be commentating on cable for skating?
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe. Or attending events as some type of ambassador for the USFSA. Who knows?
Who knows? But I think it'll be interesting kind of.
No, I mean, I can see Adam still being busy and being kind of like worked to death nonstop. It seems like he hasn't stopped since U.S. Nationals as far as we've seen on social media.
Now, I saw you cooking on social media the other day. Will you be making aprons next? Is that in your future?
No, that's not really my future. I don't know how to sew anything, and I've never bedazzled a stone in my life, and I don't care to bedazzle anything. And, you know, I have a nice apron. Maybe for my next cooking video, I'll wear my apron.
Okay.
There's cats on it. Gold cats. But no, I'll leave the aprons to Jenny. I'm not ready to take that on. Her aprons look pretty though.
They look very pretty. I watch it every day. I have to say it's entertaining. So
yeah.
All right.
Well, I'm trying to like see what the viewers like to see on my wellness blog. I have my website is being completely redone, and I'll have a new website next week, which is exciting as I try to like kind of use this as my platform now away from the ice.
When will you do eccentrics and yoga training? When is that coming?
Oh, well, see, I have this problem because this summer I'm doing my technical specialist training in July as a singles technical specialist. But the same weekend is eccentrics teacher training. And I want to be able to be trained to teach eccentrics classes. But I mean, I'm not that crazy. I can't do 2 courses in one weekend. I can't be in 2 places at one time. So I'm going to be doing the technical specialist training. I'm going to have to wait for the next teacher training for eccentrics, which is not going to be for a few months. So that's sad that I have to wait that long.
That's sad, but I think some of the eccentrics trainings tend to be on islands, or they look like in beach locations.
Yeah, they do some in Jamaica. They do some in New York. Maybe I'll come to New York and do it.
Okay. All right. We're going to have
That's in my plans, though. I have, like, endless plans.
Okay. Well, and you wanted to go to India to teach yoga. Is that still...
To study yoga.
Yes.
I do.
Okay.
But I want to go for, like, a pretty long period of time, and I can't do that while I have, like, a tour and studies that I'm still doing. So that's going to happen, you know, after tours is done.
And is Canada going to have that? You do a winter tour sometimes. They go across Canada around the holidays. Is that tour happening?
But not even like really across Canada. Sometimes you stay in like one province and just go to a few small towns. I haven't heard of that happening though. We are going on December 15th to Dallas for the Christmas tree ice show.
Where Tara used to train by the tree.
At the Galleria.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing that show on December 15th in Dallas.
Okay.
And that's all I know so far.
All right.
Hopefully, I'm hoping that we will be at the Grand Prix final selling our book and doing book signings. That's on the radar as well.
All right. Well, as always, we want to remind you, hold an edge and look sexy. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.